Well, hello, and welcome to Florida for Funshine. One more video. Today I'm going to be discussing your tilt trim. There are some ways to troubleshoot. One of the ways you want to check it first is with the switch at the helm. If that's not working and bringing your motor up and down, then you want to go to the engine. There's a side switch on the engine that also allows you to bring the engine up,
the motor,
or down.
A switch which also works the same way, up.
Yours may be in a different location, but this is where the Yamaha HPDI is at. So the engine is going up and the engine is going down. You want to first find out where the issue is, and this is what we're going to do today in our video from Florida for Funshine. Welcome. So we're at the helm, our battery is charged, they're on, and we try to bring the engine up, and it doesn't work. It clicks, or simply does nothing, up or down. It's not working, the motor is not moving. Something is wrong, so we need to check a few things. So we get off the boat, go where the motor is at, and we try the side switch that brings the motor up or down, and we find out that when we press it, the motor goes up, and when we press down, the motor goes down. So we can conclude that there's a problem at the switch at the helm. Now, if we check the switch on the motor and it's also not working up or down, then we need to get a little deep and search more to find out why the motor for the tilt is not working or engaging. So let's take a quick look at the engine as far as the mechanical components of your tilt trim. You have your motor, then you have your pump, and then you have the reservoir where you put in the liquid, the oil for the trim. Now these things can leak. They have seals here where you can get oil spillage, and then if that reservoir gets empty, the pump cannot function. The motor may be turning, but the pump doesn't have enough liquid to pressurize to bring the engine up or down. If it's a mechanical issue. Now, anything is possible, but the chances of both switches being broken, I would say that not great. So we need to go further and troubleshoot something else. Alrighty, so the next thing I'm gonna look at is the relay. So we check both switches, they're not working. So we're gonna check the relay. The relay is enclosed in this box, which we're gonna open up and do some tests on the actual relay. So you have to understand that the relay is what basically sends the signal that's coming from either the switch from the helm or the switch on the side of your engine. That's what sends the electrical signal to the motor. So if from the helm you're not able to raise or lower your engine, then you check the switch on the actual engine itself on the side. If that switch it's not also engaging the motor to bring the engine up or down, because that engine has cables, that switch has cables that go into the relay of the motor in order to engage it so it goes up or down. So I mean, I know it's a long winded explanation, but the components that are controlled by this relay. The switch sends the signal from the helm, if you're using the helm, sends it. The one on the switch on the side sends the signal to the relay. This one also. So like I said previously, it's very rare that both of them are going to be broken, both switches. So the next bridge or the next part of the connection is in here. And in here we have the relay, which we're going to go ahead and check out now. Now, the other thing that could be happening is if the motor, when you press the button, you hear the motor and it's kind of a whining noise, or you can hear that the motor is actually turning, but it's not going up or down, then you need to check the level of fluid in your trim. Maybe you don't have any fluid. Now, remember, this is if you hear the motor. If you hear the motor whining and you hear it turning, but the engine doesn't go up or down, then you have to check and see if you're low on the trim fluid. But if not, it's an electrical problem. We need to go in this box and check the relay, troubleshoot it, and see if the motor actually works. So before we go into the relay, let me show you. This is what I use. If I hear a noise, if the motor is squeaking or whatever the case may be, but I see that it is running, I'm going to check the fluid level, and I will use this product here. You can use transmission oil the same way. That works. I personally like to use something that is marine, and that's just me. No judgment on anyone. This is just my preference, and this is how I do it. Now, if I determine that it's not a lot that I need, I just need to top it off, I'll use this syringe. Just put the fluid inside the syringe and kind of inject it inside the reservoir. I'll show you where it's at again. If it's a lot, then I will use something like a ketchup bottle or some, pouring utensil like this when you pour mustard or whatever. And I'll use that. I'll fill it up with the oil, and then just go ahead and fill up the reservoir. So if it's a little bit, I use a syringe. If it's a lot, I will use the bottle, which will hold a lot more. And it's just a matter of avoiding a lot of spillage. You put a rag under the actual reservoir once you open it up, and that'll catch any fluid that may fall. And folks, it's just as simple of locating your reservoir connection here, or your cap, or your reservoir cap. Removing the cap and filling it up as you need it. Like I said, you can use a syringe, the one that I just showed you. Open up the cap, insert the syringe, and just put the liquid in. I'm not going to show you because I think it's simple enough, and it's pretty much, once you look at it, I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out. Just put a rag on the bottom, and in case some of it does spill, you don't get it all over your cement or your driveway or wherever you have your boat. If it's a lot, then you use the ketchup bottle or the mustard bottle, whatever, and it's the same concept. You just open up the cap and put the oil inside. Now, if you find yourself with your engine stuck either in the up position or the down position, there is a way to fix that, or at least to resolve it, so you can get home or work at home, or bring it down or bring it up manually. It weighs, but you can bring it up. It's a release screw that's on the side, on the port side of the engine, that you can turn, obviously, counterclockwise, so you can release the engine. There it is right there. I don't know if you can see it, but you will see the instructions, and it has a little picture of the motor and a little arrow showing you what to do to release the engine. There is a screw in there, and then you stick a screwdriver, turn it counterclockwise, and your engine will drop down. If it's on the upright position, or loosen up so you can manually lift it up. Here's a good picture of it so you can see the screw on it. It's as simple as putting the screw inside there, turning it counterclockwise, and as you can see, the engine is released. And here you go. Okay, with that out of the way, and the reason why I did that, because if you find yourself with the engine up, you can't work. So we're gonna get into the relay. There's two screws that are in this box that you're seeing now, and your boat, or I should say your engine, might be different as far as the location or how to get to it. But this is where the Yamaha HPDI, and I think most of the Yamahas, they have the relay. It's two screws, one on the top and then one at the bottom. Let's get to the bottom one here. We'll pull it out. And this is where we're going to find the relay that is the suspect here of why the engine is not tilting up or down. Like I said, both switches are not working. What are the chances of both of them are broken? Man, you never know. But I'm gonna go for what the probabilities indicate as far as in my favor what is going on with this tilt trim. And here you go. This is the relay. You have a blue cable. Now remember, blue will be relative to the sky. So this is the cable that controls the upward motion of the motor. And then you have a green cable. The green cable, well actually this is the ground cable, and this is the hot cable. This is what's bringing in the current. And then you have the green cable. This green cable is the one that brings the motor down. So you have blue for sky and green for ground. So these are the ones that we're going to work with. We're going to bypass them from the relay so we can check and see if in fact the motor is working. We check the motor for the oil. Now we're going to check and see if the relay is sending the signal to the motor to get it working. And we need to check and see if the motor, maybe the motor is burnt. But we can check it here, because if we bypass it, the motor will work when we engage it with the red cable, and it will give it current, and the motor will respond if in fact it is in working order. So this is one of the troubleshoots. I've heard a couple of comments about this. It does work. This has always worked, because what you're actually doing is giving direct current to your motor so that it will engage it and work. So let's remove the blue cable first and let's test it.
So here I go. I'm going to disconnect the blue from the relay. The blue, as you remember, the blue is sky. Blue is sky. So I disconnected it from here. Now I will want to touch the red. If I touch the red and the tilt goes up, then I know that the problem is, there we go, the motor works, right? You see how I touch it? Let me do that again. Ready? Here we go. And then that means that the motor is working at least at the up position, because the power from the battery is activating the motor, which means that if it's not working when you do the switch, that will tell you that probably your relay is not working correctly. Okay, now let's test the motor and see if it will power down. So I'm going to put some power on the green cable, which, like I explained before, this is how the motor gets powered to go down. So I'm going to go ahead and remove it from the relay, and I'm going to put it into the red, which is the power from the battery, and see if it will move the motor down. And it does, which means that the motor is working both up and down. So we can say that the motor is working. The motor doesn't have a problem. Most likely the problem is going to be the relay. The relay is not working. That's the reason why when we click it from the helm and when we click it from this button here, all it makes is a clicking noise. I don't know if you can hear it. Okay, let me do it again so you can hear it. The relay can be, we can say that the relay is bad, so it needs to be replaced. The motor is working. You can see that the motor, when I power it and send the signal to the switch through these two cables, it's working and it's bringing it up and down.
Well, this is the end of our video. Oh my God, a lot of information. The last part there, you might want to raise the volume a little bit to get a little more clear audio on it. But definitely, I'm grateful that you allow me to bring this information to you. All I ask in return is a subscription. It's totally free, and a like if you felt that this video either entertained you or gave you some knowledge. Thank you, and Flower for Funshine. We're out.